God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you what I put in this year's mixed tea blend. So let's get started. You'll have to pardon me because we just recently got a whole bunch of fruit flies that came in because of all the apples and tomatoes and tomatillos I've had sitting around in processing. And so if you see little things flying around, that's what it is. But I did just now start a fruit fly trap, and this has been a very effective method, but I just haven't needed to make one until right now because it's only been just now that I suddenly got this influx of fruit flies. But what I do is I put like a banana peel or some old pieces of fruit, like I got a little bit of peach in here from the vinegar I strained out, and then banana peels work really good. And then I put some plastic wrap. I always double layer it and then poke a few holes in the top with a knife, and the fruit flies will get attracted to what's inside and go in there, but they don't come back out. And when I get quite a few in there, then I poke a bigger hole in it, fill the jar up with water, and then drown them, and then dump it out and start over. So that's worked really well for me, but there's nothing in there yet because I just made it before starting the camera. So anyway, I'm going to do a better job on this one than I did with the mixed greens because I'm only going to do half at a time now that I realize that this much will more than fill up this bowl. But I'll go through what I have. So I have a jar of raspberry leaves. I have a pint-sized jar of yarrow. This is actually from the year before. I'm saving this year's yarrow for other things. I have a pint-sized jar of lemon balm. I have 6 jars of dried peppermint. I don't have them all out here right now, it looks like. I still have to go get the last 2. I have a jar of marshmallow leaves and flowers. Hold that up close so you can see the flowers in there. And a jar of woolly lamb's ear. I love this in tea. So as I said in another video, some of it I'm saving one jar like this just for making a plain tea or a different type of blend, and which is also what I'm doing here with another jar of the marshmallow. And but for just my basic blend that I typically use every night, this is what I'm going to go with. So I'm only going to use half of what I have to start with so I don't get too full of a bowl. So I'm going to mix half of the woolly lamb's ear in there, half of the jar of lemon balm, just packed in there very tight. And I'm not going to actually use all of this yarrow because you got to be careful when making a yarrow tea not to get too much, but it is really good for you and very relaxing. So I'm probably going to go with maybe about 1/3 of this. And then of course I'll repeat this step again, but I won't videotape all that. This will be good enough for you to see what I'm doing. Half the jar of marshmallow leaves and flowers. And then I'm going to use 3 jars of the peppermint. Mostly I like a real strong minty flavor. And actually I do have other mints mixed in here. It's just probably about 90% peppermint. I've got some mojito mint in there, a little bit of orange mint, a little bit of spearmint, but mostly peppermint. As I really like that strong flavor of the peppermints. And mostly I'm also just doing this so you can see what I'm putting in my mixed blend. Now it changes from year to year. This is the first year I'm using only things from my garden, whereas in like last year's I have marshmallow root that didn't come from my garden and holy basil, which I need to try growing again. I wasn't successful the first year and I keep forgetting to get more seed and try it again now that I have more experience at growing basil. But holy basil is just makes a really good tea and is very, very healthy. Lots of medicinal benefits to holy basil, thus the name. It's very revered in India, and yeah, it's also called Tulsi. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, after I got a couple of jars filled, I realized I forgot the raspberry leaves, so I had to dump them back in here and start over because I really want to get the benefits of my raspberry leaves in here. So I'm going to use half of those. And raspberry leaves are like grape leaves. Not as bad as grape leaves, but similar to the way they like to kind of clump together. But, so anyway, just gonna mix that in there. All right, so now I've got that mixed again with the raspberry leaves this time. And so I'm gonna start filling one of my empty jars. And since, you know, there's nothing to worry about, these just had the same dried ingredients that are going in here, I'm just reusing these jars. So I like to pack it in really tight. And you can see that even with me doing this, using a funnel, I still have a tendency to throw it all over the counter. That's what happens when you get in too much of a hurry. So get it packed down really, really tight, and then kind of watch what it does. You only want it really about up to here. You don't, just like when you're canning anything, I've tried packing things tighter than that when I'm doing the dehydrated stuff, so they came way up to here. But the problem is that with that is when, after you vacuum seal it, that tends to want to push up against the lid, and I find that I'm more likely to lose my seal on my lid. Okay, so now on to the vacuum sealing, which many of you have seen this. There's a couple steps that many of you who've been watching my videos for a while have seen many times. But, so just be patient as I get new people all the time. I'm going to use this lid because I need to demonstrate something. So I'm going to wipe this off just to make sure there's no loose pieces on there. I'm going to put on the Food Saver top. But I'm using the brake bleeder rather than the Food Saver hose attachment. So because of that, you need to stick that tip in there since it doesn't snap in there like the Food Saver one does, and you have to hold it. And you just pump up to 15. I sometimes like to go just a little bit past. I just feel like I'm more apt to get a good seal on it. So there you go. There's your good seal. Then the other thing I like to demonstrate is that since I've reusing a lid, the lid that I had the peppermint on, and this is a lid that I've canned with before and vacuum sealed other things with before. It's been used many, many times. I take my little spray bottle of rubbing alcohol, spray it on there, rub it around, and look how easy that is to get permanent marker off. And now I'm ready to write on that again, T 2017. I know it's technically an herbal infusion, but it's a lot easier to write tea. All right, that's it. I still have a lot more jars to fill, but you don't need to see all that. You saw enough to get the idea. And I hope that this will give you some ideas of what you can do with your own herbs that are growing in your garden. Or you can go ahead and find some herbs, like at Mountain Rose Herbs is a really great place. And I will link to them below. That's one place I've got like my marshmallow root. Other places I like to buy a lot of my herbs that I don't already grow or that I'm growing now that I didn't in the past is on Amazon, and I usually go with the Frontier or the Star West brands, and I will link to a couple of those below, and so you can take a look and just kind of come up with your own blend. It's going to depend on your taste. I find using a real high ratio of peppermint, since we grow tons and tons of peppermint anyway, is just really good because that just balances out the flavor of everything. Because raspberry leaves, I'm not super crazy about the flavor of, but I definitely want the health benefits of those in there. And same thing with the yarrow. It's just kind of so-so, but I'm getting the good medicinal and health benefits in there, but I don't notice the flavor because I have a good strong peppermint base in there. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care.